Hello there, and welcome to another edition of the Ask Dr. Jack Show. I am Dr. Jack Beales, chiropractor in Omaha.
Hello, everybody. I'm Aaliyah, Dr. Jack's assistant.
And along with the construction noise that you have in the ambient interspace here, we are going to talk to you about ADD, ADHD, whatever, because this is the month, and we're really focusing on that. Here's the big thing that I got, is that right away when somebody gets diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, the first thing people think about is what kind of meds we got to put them on. I mean, that's the knee-jerk reaction. So we kind of thought today we would go over the different symptoms that people look at when they diagnose it. Because, you know, when you get diagnosed with ADD, it's not like they give you a blood test.
Right. It's basically a checklist. It's a set of behaviors that they've decided the normal child should not have a problem with. So, yeah, I guess.
Okay, so let's talk about this, because, you know, if you understand what they're looking at when they give you this diagnosis, it might make a little more sense why we're asking you to maybe, you know, give something else a try first, because this diagnosis is a little sketch, to use a term that my daughters use. All right, so, okay, so the first one is self-focused behavior. Wow. So basically what it means is that the kid is going to be more concerned about him or herself than they are about the other people around them. They're going to be more worried about, you know, what is important for them, their needs, over everybody else's, that. So that's the first thing that they look at.
The next one is interrupting. So if your child can't sit and listen to an instruction without interrupting verbally or even physically, like getting up to move seats or whatever.
Next one is waiting your turn. You know, if they are in line for something, they automatically want first. If they, you know, are supposed to be, you know, doing things in order, they jump to the front of the line, because it's like, now, just think about this right now. Just these first three, I mean, they pretty much describe just about every kid under the age of 14 and even sometimes above that I know of at this point.
Well, especially, I mean, children as young as 4 are being diagnosed with ADHD. So, I mean, we're talking about children that are in preschool and in kindergarten. Interrupting, I mean, that's really a problem. It seems like normal behavior to me.
Right. Okay.
All right, so the next one is emotional turmoil. So if you have an emotional child, I know I'm the mother of 2 extremely emotional little girls. They're going out of their outbursts a little bit, but they had plenty of outbursts when they were 4, 5, 6 years old. And my oldest was a little bit more of the quiet, defiant type. Which would still qualify, you know, just the same as the kids that lock down when they have too many emotions going on, as the ones that have the outbursts.
Exactly. You know, I had 3 daughters, also 3 daughters, and they each had their little moments, especially at different ages. You know, it's you know, to say that right there is enough of a definition to be ADHD is just insane. The next big symptom that they look for is fidgetiness. You know, can't sit still, can't, you know, whatever. And I don't know about you, but just watching me, I find it very hard sometimes to sit still for prolonged periods of time, even at my age. So, you know, again, looking at how crazy this diagnosis is. Next one.
Well, I was going to say, with the fidgetiness too, like, my daughter was a fidgeter too, and they would let her, like, use those fidget spinners, if you know what those are, and she would sit there in class and she'd be able to concentrate because she had something that could distract her hand a little bit while she was doing her work. So teachers should be able to work pretty easily with something like that. The next one is problems playing quietly. I don't know very many 5-year-old little boys that even want to play quietly, let alone are good at it.
I'm thinking that the doctor that came up with this part of the diagnosis never had kids because, yeah, I've never seen anybody be able to, I mean, anyway.
I had quiet girls. They would play quietly pretty well, but not their friends. All their friends were crazy.
Yeah. The next one is unfinished tasks. So in other words, kid starts doing something, and before it's done, they start doing the next thing and the next thing. And again, how normal is that for kids? To play with one, then see more fun over there, so let's go over there, and then more fun over there, so let's go over there. I see that in adults just as much. It's fairly normal for that to happen.
Agree.
Goes right into the next one, which is
Avoiding tasks that really take concentration. So, math or reading can be kind of tough ones for kids to get through because, when you're learning math, there's a process that you have to go through in order to learn how to do it. And reading can be boring, I'll admit.
right. And then there's the lack of focus, which, again, I'm sure there's probably some kid out there that was able to focus all the time and not have a problem with it. None of my kids were able. I mean, they were pretty good, but they weren't perfect. And so,
Really?
yeah,
They're going to see this,
I know. Yeah. Anyway, so that ability to completely focus just isn't always there.
Yeah.
Next one, daydreaming. I am the king of daydreaming even to this day. If I don't have the presence of mind to make myself focus, I can pretty much completely take up as much time as I want to in my own little world.
Well, and again, if we're talking about school behavior, I mean, if you have a kid that isn't loving academics and would rather be outside playing football, there's nothing wrong with being different. I mean, we all have to learn and go to school, but whatever. Anyways.
Yeah.
Trouble getting organized.
Yeah. Hello.
Sorry.
Yeah. I am one of those people that has trouble really. I mean, I know what I want to get done, but to
Organizing
take
the steps to get there.
Yeah, it's great. So, okay, that's the big steps.
Those are like the main 11 one. There's some other little ones in there.
So
but
really, are you going to base your decision to put a kid on a drug that's basically cocaine because of that list? And again, you just got to think about it. If somebody comes up and says we've diagnosed your kid with this, that means something. But you've got to take a look at what criteria did they use to give you that quote unquote diagnosis. It wasn't like they drew some blood and said, "Oh, here's your thing," or had a urine sample or a hair sample. I mean,
Right.
These are not really true diagnoses. They are just they're just a bunch of symptoms, and then you rate your kid based on, I'm sorry. These drugs are way too potent. We don't know how they work. We don't know and everybody that takes them is going to have some different reaction to them.
Right. Well, and on top of that, we have some guesses about how they work on the adult mind, but we have no idea how they affect a rapidly developing mind of a child, brain of a child. 'Cause these drugs aren't tested on children. These drugs are tested on rats.
Yeah.
So,
please, just when you're considering a diagnosis like that.
when you're considering the treatment too,
When you're
are you
considering the
treating, are
treatment.
you just stopping the symptom, or are you fixing what might be the problem? Is he eating too much sugar? Do they not get enough exercise?
There are so many things that we can do to work with these kids that have these things going on, because you're right, diet plays huge into how the brain works. Stress plays huge into how the brain works. And if we can track these things down and figure out what's going on, we can get around these symptoms and make these symptoms go down without having to worry about putting drugs into a kid.
And come up with plans as to how to tailor, you know, education to your child, because it's a school's job. Sorry.
Yes.
Soapbox. My bad.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for this week episode of the Ask Dr. Jack Show. I hope you got a lot out of this. Please like this, share
Comment
this.
below.
Yes. Oh, yeah. If you have, you know, what are your opinions about putting kids on these drugs? You know, when you find out that it is basically a relative of cocaine. You know, I mean, and it's so easily given out these days. You know,
Yeah.
let us know what you think about that, because to me that's just crazy. But maybe there are more people that are okay with it. And also share this with anybody that might be relevant to, that have kids that might have to be making these decisions, that have kids that maybe have these symptoms, and then who knows, some teacher may come up with this diagnosis and, you know, want you to get your kid tested or whatever. You know, so, you know, just share this with as many people as you can, get the word out.
And
Stay healthy, Omaha.